Hey, I've deployed 17 plus voice and text agents for real life scenarios, from real estate agents that book meetings 24/7 to even restaurants to make their reservation as easy as just one voice message. I'm going to guide you through that 7 part framework that we will go over, and in the end, I'll give you two Claude skills that you can deploy these production grade prompts within seconds. Let's dive into it. Okay, there are a couple of reasons why your prompting sucks, so I'm going to fix that right now. So the first one is it's too vague and you're not telling it enough information. So you should give it a role first, right? It knows what it is and what it is doing, right? So for example, if you're doing it for a restaurant or even for a real estate agent, you have to give it context before he even picks up the call, like who's he calling him or whatever the context is, right? Before he even picks up the phone, it should know that what his role is, to book appointments, to qualify the leads, or whatever it is, right? So the second one is you haven't put too much guardrails in it, and you just say, go ahead and book appointments, do blah blah blah, right? It's too vague. It's 20 to 30 lines. You're not giving it the proper tool schema, no examples, no how edge cases, what to do if a specific condition does occur, and all of those good stuff, right? And we're going to fix it today. 7 part framework goes ahead and cover the role, what we're going to be giving it a role. Could be even a babysitter, you never know. You're going to give it a context about what it's doing, where it's the information is coming from, and what to do with that information. The task is to book appointments, to book a reservations, to start satisfy the customer, to even qualify the leads, whatever it is. You're going to tell it in this task, right? Then you're going to give it some rules. If you don't give it some rules, this is galaxy brain intelligence that we're talking about, right? It's gonna go ahead and wander on of its own, and it's gonna make some rules of itself. So we don't want that. We give it some hard caps on what to do and what not to do, especially. And then after that, we're going to give it a flow. We're going to give it a conversation flow, how to guide the conversation through a straight strategic guardrail type thing. So it knows that he have to go ahead and answer this specific question, and if it does not have that context for that specific question, just go ahead and use in is its intelligence. So we have to keep it tight enough but broad enough so it can use its intelligence. After that, we're going to give it some edge cases. So what happens if somebody does that, some objection handling and all of that good stuff, and some examples as well. You can see that if your prompt is 20 line, it does not make it a good production prompt. It should be at least 600 lines, and that's not a hard cap. Just don't get me wrong. Most of the prompts that I write are almost that size. That's why I just go ahead and give you this as an example. It should be 600 lines. Okay, just to reiterate, we covered what a role is, what a context is, what task it has to give, some objectives and then outcomes, the rules, the hard constraints that it has to abide by, does not make it up by itself, the flows, the branching logic, what happens if X happens to Y, if Y happens to X. Obviously, you cannot cover all in all in this all within like what happened within 600 lines. So you have to keep on improving that with production data and the edge cases and some examples of the full conversation. Ideally, 2 to 3 is the best. Do not exceed 3, but you can do 4 or 5 as well. Depends on your use case. Okay, let's just cover the example of the voice agent I named Jane. The real context was it qualifies real estate leads and dumps them into a go high level calendar. The way it does it, I gave it a role. It should be calm, patient, respectful. It has a context that the variables will be filled before it even pulls up the context. If they are not filled, go ahead and route to another condition. That is a more generalized reply. It has a task that will qualify the leads with 5 hard limits with rules that were 15 plus. Obviously, I cannot share the specific prompt with you. That's why I'm giving you that specific skill. So you can just bump in. Claude will ask you all of those questions and it'll give you a good production prompt that you can just dump in and start using ASAP. Some flows of the conversation, how the conversation ideally goes, and how to cater for it if it does not, and some edge cases and example use cases. Okay, now you might be wondering that an AI agent is an AI agent. Input, if it's text or voice, does it make a difference? And let me tell you, it does. The way you prompt it, it does, because 90% is the prompting if you're building an AI agent. The input and output, it's really easy. You just give it some tools and know and tell it where the input is coming from via call, text, WhatsApp, whatever that is. That's on you. It's really easy. But the hard part is getting the prompting right. All right, so the difference right now with the voice agent and text agent, hopefully, I don't know, might not be in a year or two, but it's a tone, pace, and energy. You give the voice agent a tone, a pace, and an energy. Because it's on a call, it has to know what kind of tone to abide by, what kind of pace to go. Is it fast? Is it slow? What kind of energy it should have. So it could clearly or closely mimic a human as robotic as possible, right? You don't want it to be robotic. And as for the text agent, you just give it a format and a style. On text, rarely you can guess if it's an AI or not. It's, so it's morely vague. You can keep the room kind of broad over here. Now the second one is a dynamics variables. So inside WAPI, if you go ahead and pull it, there's a variable section. You can do the same inside text as well, but it does not populate if you're using init. Inside WAPI, we have something called variables. What this does is basically populate them if before the call is attended by the agent, so it knows who's the agent is talking to. As for the text agent, you can just go ahead and give it a structured data table. What this means is just telling it that this is the links, this is the menu, this is the flow, and all of that good stuff, right? Giving it a bit of like structured output data of the internal knowledge base instead of hooking up to a RAG. Now the task for the agent would be qualify leads. The restaurant one would be menu driven routing, and for your agent could be something else. Keep in mind the task should be over here. Now for the rules, the voice agent for my use case, I'm just taking that as an example. It should ask one questions, then stop and listen for their answer. If they proceed or if they qualify, it should ask the next one, right? We have to give it hard constraints for that. As for the text agent, we just give it some normalized phone number and all of that good stuff. Fairly simple for the text ones. Now, same goes for conditions as well. If X happens, do Y. If Y happens, to X, and all of that. Giving it conditions so it knows how to maneuver the conversation instead of just coming up with ways of its own. Now, for the text, it's a sequential one, so it doesn't have to be as good as the condition routing for the voice agent, but you have to keep it vague on over the text side as well. As for the tools, the function calling and explicit tool schema should be there. You should tell it what tools it has and what kind of schema the tools has. So it could have, for example, a name schema. It should fill out the name of the person that is calling it. Same goes for the text agent as well. Okay, now that was the some of the basic stuff. I just wanted to cover that in case you wanted to hop in here and make some few changes after Claude has given you the prompts as well. Obviously you don't have to create it from scratch. That's why I'm giving you that skill to begin with. So let's just go over how the skill works. I'll just give you two files. It will be in the description below. So click on it, download that, commit in your IDE. And once you have that in the IDE, you just type slash whatever that command was, and it'll just go ahead and ask you a few questions, and it'll just give you the prompt to begin with. I'm going to show you example of that as well. So let's just hop into my IDE and see how it performs. Okay, I just hopped in my anti-gravity. If you have not installed this, just go to Google, type anti-gravity, install that, and once you do that, you're in this interface, something like this. Just double click on this center window, go ahead and open Claude. Once it does that, just type that slash command for the skill and it should be good to go. So let's test that out. Okay, so I'm gonna type slash on my keyboard. A lot of my skills will pop up. So the specific skill we want is the agent prompt one. Just go to the type agent and it'll just pop up. We'll select that and it should have the skill preloaded in. Once that done, we'll just go ahead and do that. As you can see, I've used Claude Code a lot and I've already hit the weekly limit to begin with, but what can we do? All right, so it's asking you a couple of questions. What kind of agent you want to build? Voice, text, business, industry, primary job, platform, tools, hard rules, and all of that good stuff, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and use Whisper Flow on my keyboard, and I'm going to give it all of these details. Okay, so the agent type is voice agent, and the business was real estate agency. Its main job is to qualify the leads according to some of the questions. Just make some up right now and make it pretty vague, so this is just for a demo. Now it will run on WAPI. It will be connected through phone call. So the agent has two tools. It will log everything inside a CRM, that is an init and webhook connected to its tools. I will call it CRM tool. And the hard rule is it only asks one question at a time, and it's fairly simple. I'm just gonna keep it vague for now. I'm gonna see how it performs. And let's go ahead and bypass the permission so it does not ask me for permissions every time. As you can see, it is kind of a lot. I have a lot of skills over here. This is for my content workspace. I create content, thumbnails, and all of that good stuff, and Claude helps me build that as well. If you want to see how I build that as well, let me know, and I'll show it to you guys as well, and give it a step by step breakdown on how you guys can do the same as well. So I'll let this complete and I'll come back when it does. All right, so it went ahead and made the prompt. For some reason it saved it to the agent slash this file, qualifier.md. So I'm just going to tell it to, hey man, can you just fetch me the file over here, so I can just click it and view the file as it is. So while it's doing that, let's see what it told us. So it gave some qualifying questions. The tools are wired up, as well as end con one did not told it that. As for the key questions, kept it pretty vague. So it told it to score the lead into three buckets: hot, warm, cold, by determining the closing line and some of the common interruptions and all that good stuff. So it did not. Huh. Let me just go ahead and fetch that. Okay, I pulled it up. Let's just go over the prompt together. So it gave it a role. So you are Alex, a friendly and professional real estate associate who qualifies inbound leads over the phone. You work for Prestige Realty Group, a residential real estate agency. Your personality is warm, confident, all good stuff. Gave us the role, it gave it the context. You are receiving an inbound phone call. The caller is responding to property listing. Obviously, it's given the context and some variables as well. Some safety rules telling it what to do, what not to do, the opening greeting, its specific task, the tools it has with this proper schema as well, JSON schema with the input schema. Obviously, you can go ahead and converse with it and tell it to change that. The rules, the end con function, again the rules. So these are the all right. So these are the rules for the end call function, right? That's nice. The notation legend, so it has conditional variables and instructions. Q is your line, R is the caller's line. Some hard rules again, and some pivot lines, some rebuttals, and some example questions as well. As you can see, it goes on and on and on till three lines. So yeah, pretty solid prompt, but I wouldn't say it's ready for production right now. Just make sure to get all of the details from your client and put that in. It'll give you the prompt within seconds. So that's all from my side. Have fun building, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'm always looking out for them. Bye bye.